for a guy who's not a farmer, and I am not a farmer, I actually know quite a bit about John Deere, at least the company itself. I'm not too big on the tractors. Never been on a John Deere full scale tractor before, but I've seen them, and I appreciate all the wonderful food that they assist in providing to me and my family. I really like the company, but I know a ton about the company because back in a previous life when I was in corporate America, I had a CEO this guy was CEO of multiple companies. Okay, he was kind of known as a fix-it CEO, so to speak. And he would go in, he'd find distressed companies, he would get them fixed up, and then he would go move on to another company. That was what he was good at. But his dream job and he was, by the way, he was a farmer before corporate America, before Harvard, before all that stuff. He was a farmer, and as a result, he knew a lot about John Deere, and he would always tell me that John Deere was his dream job. Okay, he was helping all these great companies, small, medium, large, helping get them built up, but the end goal for him was to become the CEO of John Deere. That was his goal, professional goal in life. And I learned a whole lot about the company during one particular flight where we were together sitting next to each other for, I believe it was about a 4.5, 5 hour flight. And I would say at least 2 to 3 hours of that flight was spent talking about John Deere, talking about the company, talking about really how we could even implement some of the strengths, some of the things that they have done as a company, how we could implement that into our company. It was not just reminiscing or fantasizing about his future as John Deere CEO. It was also really about strategy, applying the principles that they use and applying it to our company. Well, fast forward to today, and at least 2 of the things that I remember him talking to me about are in jeopardy. He said, number one, this is an all-American company, okay? All-American company. He said that you got all these companies that are going to ship jobs, ship production, ship everything out. John Deere, it's part of their DNA to be an all-American company. And number 2, he said that they're forward-thinking without necessarily being progressive. They're innovative without jumping ahead of themselves. They could be an old-school company and still rapidly employ new age ideas, at least from a business perspective. I'm not talking about like meditation or anything like that. I'm talking about that they could stay up with the times while still being a traditional company, an American company. Well, fast forward to 2024, after 3-4 years of Democrats and the uniparty swamp, I should really say, destroying our nation, destroying our economy. Well, now they are in big trouble. There's a story. It's over at AmericaFirstReport.com, but it's through the Daily Caller. Daily Caller is where the story's from. John Deere announces layoffs while moving production abroad. So literally, the stability that he would tout, it's obviously not there, and it's not their fault. The market's not there. That again, you can throw at Democrats in particular, but also in general, the uniparty swamp, and then also moving production abroad. That's something that I need to call him and find out, hey man, how you doing? Because I know that you had told me one time over a decade ago that this would never happen, and here it is happening. And not to gloat, I'm horrified by this news, and we all should be, because this is actually bigger than we're seeing layoffs all the time, right? We have been for the last 4 years. But this is big. This is important because it represents something that I don't think a lot of us were expecting. But first, the article. John Deere announced Friday it will lay off approximately 610 workers between 3 of its plants in Illinois and Iowa, Fox News reported. The agricultural machinery giant is set to lay off hundreds of workers due to declining demands for its products, with all layoffs taking effect August 30th, according to the outlet. The move reportedly affects 280 workers at the East Moline, Illinois plant, 230 at the Davenport, Iowa factory, and about 100 at the Dubuque, Iowa facility. The company is offering affected workers a supplemental unemployment benefit covering about 95% of their weekly net pay for up to 26 weeks. So they're trying to do the right thing. They're not just dumping these people. They are actually trying to keep them secure while they find new employment. But based on the length of the service, the outlet had reported. In addition, they will reportedly receive profit-sharing options and health benefits. Again, these are trademarks of of a very solid company that does value its employees. Unfortunately, you see the reactions from some of them, reactions from corporate media, and they're all, of course, they're saying greed, greed, greed. And I can assure you, with everything that I learned about John Deere, has nothing to do with greed. They're looking at projections. They're seeing the writing on the wall. They're looking at sales. And sales have not been horrible. Okay, this is looking at the future. Sales had actually been pretty darn good up until 2023. But what they're seeing is a dramatic shift. And it's not just them. A lot of people are seeing a dramatic shift that points to the fact that we're in trouble as a nation. Financially speaking, economically speaking, fiscally speaking, we are in deep trouble. This is a reaction to that trouble. This isn't about greed. Nobody's going to be buying an extra private jet while firing 610 people. This is about them looking, reading the tea leaves, looking at the writing on the wall and saying, we've got to do something now because we're going to be in big, big, big trouble if we do not. We've got to streamline. That seems to be if there's ever a word for 2023 and 2024, it's streamline, at least from a business perspective, because a lot of companies are having to do just that, again, thanks to the uniparty swamp, as well as the globalist elite cabal, the Fed. There's a lot of reasons, but you can really focus in on the uniparty swamp as the biggest reason. The layoff was originally announced May 31st through a company-wide email sent to employees. So fast forward a little bit, despite posting a profit of $10.166 billion in 2023. So again, it's not like sales were awful before. They're projecting. They're seeing what's coming, and they're very good at it. That's one of the things that he kept touting, is that they could, even though it's an old school company, they could see and project very well what's going to happen in the future. And they see what's happening to farmers. They see what's happening to ranchers. They see what's happening to individual consumers, all of whom they service. They see what's happening to the big ones, the little ones. They're going after them with lawfare. You look at Sonoma County, California, where they're talking about taking out very old and well-established, quote-unquote, corporate farms or whatever they're called. These are family farms. They're just big. And as a result of being big, of course, the climate change fanatics, gurus, cultists, they are going after anybody that they can. This is all about the destruction of the food system, and that's why this one doubly hurts. This isn't just about a sign of the economy. As everyone knows, I am very much keeping my eyes all over the food industry, because as Henry Kissinger said, who controls the food supply can control the people, and it seems as if all signs are pointing to the fact that they are trying to control the people, trying to take out John Deere, not trying to, but effectively harming them, harming anybody who manufactures farm supplies, by the way, as well as the farmers themselves, the farms themselves, the farm workers, the food itself, everything. It's all under attack. This isn't just some random, John Deere, But on top of that, on top of all that, on top of the layoffs, they're also moving part of their production to Mexico by 2026. This is a company where that would have been unimaginable just a few years ago. And now they feel like they don't have a choice. I don't have access to their books. I don't know their hearts. I can't say definitively that there's no greed involved, but these things hurt. Okay, from a public relations perspective, you don't want to be working with people that are already struggling, namely the farmers and the ranchers and even the individual consumers. You don't want to start tarnishing your own name by getting into layoffs and moving production to Mexico. Bad stuff. So they obviously feel like this is necessary. In a statement from John Deere, we can confirm Deere leadership recently communicated that rising operational costs and declining market demands requires enterprise-wide changes in how work gets done to achieve our goals and best position the company for the future. Generic statement, doesn't say anything, but it does tell us, not just it, but the news itself tells us that this is a company we know has made good financial decisions throughout its career or throughout its history. We also know that they have wanted to be, without being political, they have wanted to be, for those of you who are too young to remember, there was a time when being patriotic wasn't a political thing. Okay, you could be a Republican, Democrat, wouldn't matter. Patriotism was a matter of, hey, I want my country to succeed. Hey, I love America. Now, if you love America, then not only are you almost certainly a Republican, But perhaps worse, you're going to be labeled in some form or fashion as either a criminal or a domestic terrorist, because loving America apparently in America is now a sin, a crime, a bad thing worth cancellation. Hopefully, Lord willing, John Deere can bounce back from all this. But unless things change, and I'm not just talking about in November, I'm not just talking about through elections, unless we have real, true, wholesale change in the way that this nation operates, then John Deere is not the last major American company that's going to fall. I like being a person who focuses on solutions. I don't always have the answers, but I try to at least know 1 or 2 or 5 different ways that we can address an issue. If we're fighting oppression, we know that we must protest. We know that we must be ready to, if necessary, to revolt. If we're fighting against a government that is just doing the wrong things, well, let's figure out who the right people are and get them into office. Those are the types of solutions that just about anybody can offer. If anybody who's out there doing a conservative or alternative news show, they can at least tell you, go vote and go protest, right? But one thing that we have that's unique about us is that we do actually get involved directly with one particular problem, and that's long-term survival, preparedness. Just in case, hey, let's say we can't stop the destruction of the United States. Let's say we can't prevent the next cyber attack. Let's say we can't prevent an invasion, God forbid, or anything like that. Then at least we should be able to bug in appropriately, and that's why I'm very proud to be one of the owners of a company that services Americans specifically with long-term storage beef. We're talking about the good stuff. It's not beef crumbles or beef chunks. We're talking about ribeye, New York strip, tenderloin, sirloin. We're talking about freeze-dried. It's cooked sous vide, so then freeze-dried for a 25-year shelf life. So you're good until 2049 if you buy enough of this stuff. All American beef. We don't import anything. It's born, raised, slaughtered, and then packaged and shipped out from Texas. Doesn't ever leave Texas until it's in a bag heading towards your house. So that's my contribution, so to speak. I know it's not much. I know that there's other people that are fighting really hard, getting into heavy activism, fighting the lawfare side for conservatives and all that good stuff. This is what we've got. I mean, it's different, but hopefully we fulfill a need that you have. Be sure to use promo code JDR. That'll get you the maximum discount at any given time. And as of right now, as you're watching this, that maximum discount is 25% off. So, yeah, stock up. Stock up now. Stock up as much as you possibly can. Get high-quality beef by going to preparewithbeef.com. That's preparewithbeef.com.